I fired Maria on a Tuesday morning. No warning, no explanation. Just handed her an envelope with 2 weeks severance and told her we wouldn't need her services anymore. She didn't cry, didn't argue. Just nodded, collected her things from the supply closet, and left through the side door like she'd done 1,000 times before. My son was watching from the top of the stairs. I didn't know that then. I found out 3 weeks later when he stopped speaking to me entirely. By then, Maria had already disappeared from our lives, and my son had started packing his bags. My name is Richard Holloway, and for most of my adult life, I've been good at exactly one thing: making money. I built a commercial real estate firm from nothing, survived 2 recessions, and walked away, at 53, with enough to never work again. My wife, Catherine, passed when our son Dylan was 12. Cancer took her in 8 months. After that, it was just the 2 of us in a house far too big for the amount of living we actually did. Maria Gutierrez started working for us 6 months after Catherine died. She was 39, spoke English with a thick accent, and came recommended by a neighbor. She cleaned Tuesdays and Fridays, laundry, dusting, bathrooms, kitchen. She was punctual, quiet, and never asked for anything beyond her agreed rate. I barely noticed her. That was the point. I paid well enough that I didn't have to think about it. Dylan noticed her, though. He was 13 then, angry at the world, angry at me for not saving his mother, angry at himself for reasons I never fully understood. He'd come home from school and go straight to his room. But on the days Maria worked, I'd hear them talking. Not long conversations, just small exchanges. In the kitchen or hallway, she'd ask about his day. He'd actually answer. It was more than he gave me. Over the years, Maria became part of the routine. She knew where everything went. Knew Dylan liked his bathroom towels folded a certain way. Knew I took my coffee black and left it in the pot too long. She never overstepped. Never tried to be anything other than what she was hired to be. I thought that made her perfect for the job. I didn't realize it made her irreplaceable in ways I wasn't paying attention to. Dylan was 17 when I fired her, a senior in high school, already accepted to 3 universities, already pulling away from me in the way teenage boys do. We existed in the same house but lived separate lives. He had his friends, his college plans, his entire future laid out. I had my portfolio, my golf games, my quiet evenings with bourbon and financial reports. It worked. Or I told myself it did. The decision to let Maria go wasn't dramatic. There was no incident, no broken heirloom or missing jewelry, nothing like that. It was a Tuesday morning in March, and I was reviewing household expenses. I did this quarterly, same as I'd done with every business I ever ran. Cut what wasn't essential, optimize where possible. Maria's rate had increased incrementally over the years. Nothing unreasonable, but when I added it up annually, I saw a number that felt excessive for what amounted to basic housekeeping. Dylan was capable of doing his own laundry. I could hire a service that came monthly for deep cleaning. The daily upkeep wasn't complicated. I'd lived alone before. I could do it again. It was a simple cost-benefit analysis, the kind I'd made 1,000 times in business. I didn't think about it beyond the numbers. I told Maria that morning when she arrived. She was pulling cleaning supplies from the hall closet when I walked, over with the envelope. I kept it professional, thanked her for her years of service, told her it wasn't performance-related, just a change in household needs. She took the envelope, looked at me for a long moment, and said, "Okay, Mr. Holloway." That was it. She gathered her personal items, a sweater she kept in the closet, a pair of shoes she wore inside, a small radio she listened to while she worked. She was gone in under 10 minutes. Dylan came down an hour later. He looked around the kitchen, then at me. "Where's Maria?" "I let her go," I said. "We don't really need a cleaning lady anymore. You're about to leave for college anyway." He stared at me. "You fired Maria." I made a business decision about household expenses. She's been here for 5 years, and I paid her well for 5 years. I gave her severance. It was handled appropriately. He didn't say anything else. Just turned and walked back upstairs. I heard his door close. It wasn't a slam. That would have been better. It was the soft, deliberate click of someone shutting you out. The next week, Dylan started eating dinner in his room. He'd come down, make a plate, and disappear. When I tried to talk to him, his answers were one word. Fine. Yeah. No. Nothing. He wasn't angry in any visible way. He was just absent. Physically there, emotionally gone. I told myself it was normal teenage behavior. He was stressed about graduation, about leaving home, about the future. It had nothing to do with Maria. That's what I kept telling myself even as the silence in the house became something I could feel in my chest. 2 weeks after I fired Maria, I came home to find Dylan in the kitchen, phone pressed to his ear, speaking Spanish. I didn't know he spoke Spanish. He saw me and switched to English immediately. I have to go, he said into the phone, and hung up. He didn't explain. I didn't ask, but I knew who he'd been talking to. The breaking point came on a Saturday night in April. I'd made reservations at Dylan's favorite restaurant, hoping to reset things between us before he left for college. He came downstairs dressed, but his face was set in that blank expression he'd been wearing for weeks. We were halfway through appetizers when I tried to bridge the gap. You've been distant lately. I know things have been tense, but we should talk before you leave in the fall. There's nothing to talk about, Dylan said. Clearly there is. You've barely said 10 words to me in a month. He put down his fork. You want to know why I'm distant? You really don't know? I assume it's about Maria, but Dylan, that was a household decision. It wasn't personal. It wasn't personal, he repeated. Do you even hear yourself? People at nearby tables were starting to glance over. I kept my voice low. Let's discuss this at home. No, we're discussing it now. He leaned forward. Do you know what Maria did after Mom died? I didn't answer. She stayed late every Tuesday and Friday, didn't charge you, didn't ask for anything. She just stayed because she knew I was alone. She'd make me dinner, sit with me while I did homework, listen when I needed to talk about Mom. She learned to make Mom's lasagna because I mentioned missing it once. She did that for 5 years, Dad. 5 years. My throat felt tight. I didn't know. You didn't ask. You didn't notice. You paid her, and that was enough for you. His voice cracked slightly. She called me after you fired her. She wanted to say goodbye properly. Do you know what she said? She said she hoped I'd be okay. She was worried about me. She just lost her job for no reason, and she was worried about me. Dylan, she has 3 kids. Did you know that? One of them has medical issues. The extra money you paid her, the money you decided was excessive, that's what covered his treatments. She worked 6 other houses just to keep up. Ours was the only one that paid enough to make a real difference. I felt something cold settle in my stomach. I didn't know any of that. Because you didn't care to know. She was just a line item to you, like everything else. He stood up. I'm not going to college in the fall. I deferred my enrollment. I'm taking a gap year. What? Dylan, we've already paid the deposit. I'm moving out next week. I found a place with 2 friends. I got a job. I'll figure out college later. He pulled out his wallet and threw 2 20s on the table. That should cover my half. He walked out of the restaurant. I sat there, surrounded by the quiet murmur of other people's conversations, other families having normal Saturday dinners. I paid the check and drove home alone. Dylan's door was locked. The light was off. Dylan moved out 8 days later. He took 3 boxes and a duffel bag. I offered to help. He said he had it covered. His friends showed up with a truck. I stood in the driveway and watched them load everything. Dylan shook my hand before he left. It was formal, distant, like I was a business associate and not his father. He gave me his new address and phone number, told me he'd reach out when he was ready. That was 3 months ago. He's answered 2 of my texts. Both responses were polite and brief. "I'm good. Thanks for asking." I tried calling Maria once. Her number was disconnected. I asked the neighbor who'd originally recommended her, but she'd lost touch years ago. I drove by the address I had on file from her original paperwork. The apartment building manager said she'd moved 2 months ago. No forwarding information. The house is clean. I've been doing it myself just like I planned. It's not difficult. Laundry, dishes, vacuuming, all manageable. The silence is harder. I notice it most on Tuesdays and Fridays, the days Maria used to come. I'll walk through the kitchen and expect to hear her radio playing softly. Or I'll pass Dylan's room and remember the sound of them talking in Spanish, a whole language between them I never bothered to learn. I tried reaching out to Dylan again last week. Sent a longer message, apologized for not seeing what I should have seen. Told him I understood why he was angry. He responded the next day. "I'm not angry, Dad. I'm just disappointed. There's a difference. I sleep in the study most nights now. The bedroom feels too big. The whole house feels too big. I thought money would insulate me from consequences. I thought making smart financial decisions meant I was making smart decisions. Period. I didn't understand that some things can't be optimized. Some people aren't line items. Some losses can't be calculated until after they're already gone. I spent my whole life learning how to value things in dollars. I never learned how to value people in the ways that actually matter. Maria wasn't expensive. She was essential. Dylan wasn't pulling away from me because of adolescence. He was pulling away because I'd shown him exactly who I was. Some mistakes don't announce themselves. They just quietly erase the people who mattered most. And by the time you notice the silence, there's nobody left to fill it.